Hello and welcome to the Love Her podcast. My name is Laura. I am your host, and I am so excited to start this journey with you. This podcast is for the high achieving woman, the woman who has accomplished goal after goal, the woman who knows her potential, who knows her worth, who knows she is meant to make a bigger impact. And yet, she is a woman who feels stuck. This podcast is for the woman who is not only ready to own her success, but is ready to reach even higher. You are that woman. Let's rediscover what it means to be her. Hello, and welcome back to the Love Her podcast. My name is Laura. I am your host. And whether this is your first time tuning in, or if you are coming back for more, I am celebrating you for taking this time for you. Because ladies, we are so busy. We are pulled in so many directions between the roles of wife and mom and career woman, managing all the meetings and appointments, making sure the laundry is done and the house is clean, dinner is on the table. And we are expected to do it all with a smile on our face, making it look effortless, all while feeling like we never have a moment to breathe. And it's no wonder so many of us are experiencing burnout. If you are feeling depleted, you are not alone, and you don't have to stay that way. Life doesn't have to be so stressful and exhausting. Life can be good again. You can wake up feeling rested and ready for the day, and you can go to bed at night without the anxiety and endless thoughts racing through your mind. Even with all the responsibilities and all the roles you are fulfilling, you have the power to create moments of stillness and calm and reflection that will shift your energy. And in the next two episodes, I am going to prove it to you. So, if peace and calm are words you forgot existed, then you, my friend, are in the right place because you already have the power to create this. It is something you've always had and something no one can take from you. And it is always available to you in any moment, at any time. And the best part, it's free. Ladies, the answer is simply your breath. Your breath is your superpower. When you have the awareness and the ability to harness it and use it to your advantage, you can shift your energy. You can become so much more present and feel so much more alive again. In this episode, we are going to focus on the breath and just how important it is to your overall health and well-being. And once you have a better understanding of your breath, in next week's episode, we will be discussing one of my favorite topics, HypnoBreathwork. But before you can fully understand the power of HypnoBreathwork, it is also important to first understand and have an appreciation for the power of your breath. I will admit, when I first heard the word breathwork, I was very confused. It seemed so simple, too simple. In a world where we are taught we have to hustle, we have to constantly be moving and going and doing, it seemed counterintuitive to pause, to be still, and simply breathe. But one of the biggest lessons I have learned in the last few years is that when I give myself the chance to slow down, to be present, and to connect with my intuition, that is when I grow and expand the fastest. And your breath gives you the ability to do just that. And this might sound a little dramatic, but it is simply the truth. Your breath is the very thing that gives you life. When you were born, you breathed life into your body with your first breath. And when you take your last breath, your life will come to an end. So right now, cherish it, become aware of it, feel gratitude for it, and let it heal you. So let's get right into it. What I have discovered about breathing has absolutely fascinated me. And one of the most fascinating things about your breath is that it is the only system that you have subconscious and conscious control over. For the most part, You breathe subconsciously. You don't have to constantly tell yourself to breathe. You are always breathing, whether you're awake, sleeping, focused, or relaxed. However, you can also choose to hold your breath. You can breathe deeper, shallower, faster, slower. You can take control of your breath at any moment. And by taking control of your breath, you can regulate your nervous system. You can decrease your heart rate and you can get into a more relaxed, healing state. And that is powerful, especially since we now live in a very fast paced, high stress society where most of us are stuck in a state of sympathetic nervous system activation. Or, in other words, we are stuck in that state of fight or flight. So, let's get into that. When I talk about the nervous system, we have our central nervous system, which is made up of our brain and spinal cord, and it's our brain's main processing system. It receives, processes, and responds to sensory information, essentially controlling all bodily functions. And it is broken down into two systems, the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous systems. And these two systems do very different things. As I already said, you can think of the sympathetic nervous system as the fight or flight state. And it gets its name from the caveman days when human beings had to be alert and ready to run if a lion or a predator was nearby. It was necessary for survival. When the sympathetic nervous system was activated, our heart rate increased, we started breathing faster, our pupils dilated, and we experienced a burst of energy as our blood flows slowed to our organs and digestive system and was pumped instead to our extremities so that we could run. So back then, it was essential for survival. Here's the thing though. Today, we don't have predators trying to eat us. We can walk out our front door without having to be on alert for a lion hiding in the bushes. But today, we do have other stressors. We have smaller, more constant threats. For example, you hear your company is being restructured and layoffs are going to begin, or you have to leave in 10 minutes and your child is throwing a tantrum and refusing to get dressed because you forgot to wash their favorite shirt. We have so many appointments and meetings to keep track of, so many deadlines, and it seems like everything has to be done yesterday. Many of us are handling all the pressures of being a successful career woman, a wife, a mom, a daughter, a friend. And on top of that, we are constantly bombarded with the dings and alerts from our phone, email, and social media. And in short, we are always accessible, always turned on, always on our toes. And this keeps us in a constant state of sympathetic activation. And this leads to chronic stress and burnout because our sympathetic nervous system, our fight or flight response, is meant to be short lived. Once we've outrun the lion and are safe, our body is supposed to return to a relaxed state. But in our world today, with the constant barrage of stimuli, we are unable to fully relax and we are stuck in a state of stress, feeling anxious, exhausted, and burned out. So that's the bad news. Here's the good news. You don't have to remain in the state of sympathetic activation or in that state of fight or flight. Through the power of your breath, you can activate your parasympathetic nervous system. And this is huge because when your parasympathetic nervous system is activated, you are in a resting, relaxed, and healing state. Your heart rate slows, your breathing rate slows, blood flow increases to your organs, digestion increases, and is often referred to as the rest and digest state. You also can improve your sleep by just learning how to activate and be more in your parasympathetic state throughout the day. I don't know about you ladies, but a good night's sleep or lack thereof can make or break me. It is the most frustrating thing to lie down in bed feeling so exhausted, and the moment you close your eyes, your brain flips on and starts racing through all the to-do lists, all the what ifs, all the ways you're failing as a mother or daughter or wife. Your sympathetic nervous system is activated. And it is telling you there will be minimal sleep tonight because why sleep when you can do a marathon of overthinking all night long? Believe me, I know this experience all too well. And this brings up my next point. How do you relax? Just take a moment to ponder this question. Is your idea of relaxing actually relaxing for your mind, body, and soul? Today, we tend to distract instead of relax. It is so common to relax by scrolling on social media or watching TV or getting sucked into hours of watching meaningless TikTok videos. In short, you are keeping yourself stimulated. So, when is the last time you got quiet and just let yourself be present in the moment and be present with yourself with no distractions? When is the last time you sat outside and simply watched the sunset or went for a walk by yourself with no phone, no music? When is the last time you focused on your breath? Have you ever just sat down and become aware of your breathing? For many of us, the answer is no. And I fully admit that I had never really thought about my breathing until 2.5 years ago when I first discovered breathwork. It's something I used to take for granted. The only time I thought about my breathing is when I was having a hard time breathing, when I was exercising, or when I was sick and had congestion. Other than that, my breath was not a conscious thought. It was a subconscious action. My body simply knew to keep breathing. And as I said earlier, your breathing is the only system you can control subconsciously and consciously. And when you are conscious about your breathing, it can affect just about every other system in your body. And it can activate different parts of your brain. You can create a mind, body, soul experience just through the power of your breath. And the first step to achieving this is breath awareness. Dan Brule, author of the book Just Breathe and a world renowned leader and pioneer of breathwork, describes two important concepts in breathing. First, breath awareness, and second, breath consciousness. So let's start by talking about breath awareness. And first, I invite you to try something. If you are driving right now, come back to this when you're in a quiet, calm environment and can safely and more easily focus. And if you're in that environment right now, just take a moment to sit or lie down and pause and become aware of your breath and observe your breathing. No judgment, just simply noticing your breath. Are you breathing through your nose or your mouth? Feel the air as it enters your nose or mouth. Does it feel cool? Does it feel hot? Place one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly. Are you breathing more into your chest or are you breathing into your belly? What muscles do you feel working? What does the breath feel like as it enters your body and goes to your lungs? What sensations do you feel as you inhale? What sensations do you feel as you exhale? Now, as you inhale, envision the oxygen traveling to every part of your body. Let yourself feel the life giving energy of your breath. How does it feel to just become aware of your breath? This might be the first time you've ever truly given your full attention to your breath, and I hope it won't be the last. It's a beautiful exercise just simply becoming aware and having gratitude for the very thing that gives you life. Breath awareness is something you can incorporate into your day. Make it fun. Get curious about your breathing. Just simply notice your breathing pattern in the moment. Our breathing patterns are changing continuously throughout our day. And when we become more aware of it, we can use it to our advantage. Now, as I already said, breath awareness is not about guilting or shaming yourself. It's about simply observing and becoming aware so that you can start to breathe better and ultimately start to feel better. And speaking of breathing better, I want to discuss some common dysfunctional breathing patterns. And if you realize you are doing some or maybe all of them, you are not alone. I am guilty as well, and often still have to remind myself to breathe better. Again, no guilt, no shame, just awareness. Because awareness is key to becoming better at anything. You can't choose to be better if you don't allow yourself to observe and become aware first. So, one way that most of us can breathe better is by simply breathing deeper. Again, if you are driving right now, please wait until you're home or in a safe environment to give your full attention to your breath. To better observe your own breathing, I want you to try this with me. Place one hand on your chest and one hand on your belly and just breathe normally. If you notice your chest is rising, but not your belly, you are shallow breathing. Full breaths, which support relaxation, are evident through your belly rising and falling. I want you to try this right now. Take a big breath in through your nose and let your belly expand, and then exhale through your nose. For some of you, this may feel awkward, and I just want to remind you that that is okay. This is a practice. Many of us are shallow breathers, and it's just simply something that has never been pointed out before. So now you are aware, and now you get to work on it. Another common breathing dysfunction is holding your breath when you are focusing hard on a task, such as a work project or composing an email. As we hold our attention, we also tend to hold our breath. Even as a HypnoBreathwork facilitator and someone who quite honestly knows better, I often catch myself holding my breath when I'm focused on a task. And I often have to remind myself to not only breathe into my belly, but to just simply breathe. As I have become more aware of this, I realized I hold my breath a lot. And since I've become more aware of it, I have also been able to consciously correct it. And what I've noticed is that I have more energy, which makes sense because I am no longer depriving my body and my brain of oxygen. So, when you catch yourself holding your breath, first celebrate yourself for becoming aware, and then take a nice deep breath into your belly and focus on breathing as you also focus on your task. And the last dysfunctional breathing pattern I want to discuss is breathing through your nose versus your mouth. Patrick McCune, who is the author of the book The Breathing Cure and a leading expert in this field, recommends nose breathing almost always over breathing through your mouth. When I read his book, I was absolutely fascinated by the benefits of breathing through your nose. In short, breathing through your nose oxygenates your blood 10 to 20% more than mouth breathing. It promotes longer, deeper breaths, which engages your diaphragm and promotes relaxation. Nasal breathing also promotes nitric oxide in your sinuses, which helps control airway inflammation and filter out bacteria, viruses, and airborne pathogens. Patrick recommends taking all your inhales and all your exhales through your nose. In fact, chronic mouth breathing decreases your oxygen levels, which can lead to elevated blood pressure. It can cause fatigue and increase your risk of snoring, sleep apnea, and irregular breathing patterns. And it activates your sympathetic nervous system, keeping you in that state of fight or flight and chronic stress. And that's just to name a few. Since learning about nose breathing and practicing it myself, I have experienced significantly less respiratory illnesses and have just overall felt much healthier with more energy. And it has made me a strong believer in the benefits of nose breathing. So, in short, our respiratory system was designed for us to breathe through our nose. And there are so many physical and physiological benefits to nose breathing. I highly encourage you to give it a try. Okay, so we've covered breath awareness and touched on different types of breathing dysfunction. And now let's discuss breath consciousness. Breath consciousness is when you take control of your breathing. It is when you control your breathing pattern for a specific outcome, whether it is to calm your nervous system or access your intuition or subconscious mind, or to perform at a higher level while exercising or participating in sport. Breath consciousness is when we are not only aware of our breathing pattern, but we are also taking control of it. Breath consciousness is not something you will do all the time. Breathing, for the most part, is a subconscious act. It's something that we do without having to think about. However, when you implement more moments of conscious breathing into your day, you can start to improve your overall breathing patterns. You can activate your parasympathetic nervous system and improve your quality of life. Breathwork is just one form of conscious breathing. And if you want a very detailed list with explanations and instructions for varying exercises with specific goals, the book I just mentioned by Patrick McCune does an excellent job of providing these. There are so many ways you can practice conscious breathing, some very intense, some quite simple. So let's pause right now and try a simple exercise. We are going to do something called box breathing. For this exercise, you simply breathe through your nose for a count of 4, hold your breath for a count of 4, exhale through your mouth for a count of 4, and then hold your breath again for a count of 4. And repeat this for a few minutes, or really for as long as you'd like until you feel more relaxed. And if a count of 4 feels too long, you can start with even 2 or 3 seconds and work your way up. So let's try this together quick. Sit up nice and tall with a good posture, or you can lay down on your back and get comfortable. For this exercise, you will breathe in through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And now, breathing through your nose, breathe into your belly for 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold 1, 2, 3, 4. It's as simple as that. And now I invite you to pause this episode and repeat this breath pattern for 2 minutes and then come back. Okay, how do you feel? Do you feel more relaxed, calmer, more alert? If so, it makes sense because this simple exercise of box breathing promotes relaxation, lowers blood pressure, decreases stress by reducing cortisol, also known as the stress hormone, and it improves mental clarity and memory, improves lung function, regulates mood, and improves sleep. And this all happens simply because you are breathing consciously. You have the ability to affect so many systems in your body just by controlling your breathing pattern. That is powerful. So, the next time you are having trouble sleeping, feeling the pressure of a deadline, or simply feeling the stress and anxiety of everyday life, I invite you to take just a few minutes and do some box breathing and ultimately shift your energy. And as you begin to practice breath awareness and breath consciousness, I want to remind you that this is about progress, not perfection. I will say it again, it's not about guilting or shaming yourself. It's about becoming more aware of your breathing patterns and working on improving them when you notice you're holding your breath or breathing shallow or breathing through your mouth. Because here's the thing, no matter how aware you become, no matter how good you get at conscious breathing, you're never going to do it perfectly. It's not about breathing perfect, it's about breathing well and breathing better. A general rule that you can follow is that when you are sitting and relaxed, your breathing should be through your nose and should be regular. It should be deep, as noted by the rising of your belly. And it should be slow, about 4 to 8 breaths per minute. It doesn't mean you have to achieve that right now, but it can be a goal to work towards. There are many types of breathing dysfunctions. I only touched on a few in this episode, and there are also many types of breathing exercises that can move you out of that dysfunction. The books that I mentioned earlier also have wonderful examples of breathing exercises to help get you out of dysfunction and breathing better, and I've linked them in the show notes if you'd like to further your understanding and knowledge. They are great resources by highly renowned experts. So I encourage you to start becoming more aware of your breath. How are you breathing right now? Just become aware. And then start to practice conscious breathing by breathing more into your belly, slowing your breathing rate, and breathing through your nose. When you have the awareness and are able to improve your breathing, celebrate yourself. You are breathing your way to a more relaxed nervous system and a better quality of life. Thank you for listening to this episode. My hope is that you now have a better understanding of not only the importance of your breath, but also of the power you possess to control your physical and physiological being by simply taking control of your breath. Your breath is powerful. You are powerful. And when you harness the power of your breath, you will be amazed at how much you can shift your energy and change your life. And in the next episode, we are finally going to talk about one of my favorite topics, HypnoBreathwork. HypnoBreathwork is a mind, body, soul experience. It is something that has changed my life, and I am so honored to share it with you. And I'm excited to announce that I'm going to start offering an online group HypnoBreathwork session 2 times a month for any woman who is ready to step into a higher version of you and start becoming her. I will give you more information on this in the next episode, but if you'd like to sign up early, I have the dates and times listed in the show notes, and there's a link to register. And don't forget to enter the coupon code. So, next week, we'll be diving into HypnoBreathwork, and until then, I invite you to become more aware of your breath and start practicing moments of conscious breathing. I want to remind you that no matter what is going on in your life or what is going on in your head, you always have the power of your breath. And you get to start using that power today to better your life and better yourself. If this episode resonated with you, it would mean the world to me if you would rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast and share it with a woman that inspires you. The more this podcast is shared, the more impact we can make. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here and for sharing this episode. Also, you can follow me on Instagram at Laura Kistner Coaching or sign up for my weekly newsletter so that you keep up to date on any future episodes and future HypnoBreathwork session dates and have first access to my one-on-one coaching openings and group programs. And last, I believe in you, and I am so excited to see you becoming more of her. I can't wait to see you on the next episode.